So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.
What's up YouTube, Dale here from Z4 Games, bringing you a brand new deck. And this time I am bringing you Cubics. Boom, 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 boom. Now Cubics got some brand new support in Dual Overload, as you can see in front of you, in the forms of Cubic Drama and alongside Cubic Casualty and Cubic Ascension. Spoiler, we are playing all of them. Now the deck is all based on going second OTK, and I'm going to take you through the build we have and exactly why we've got it. So before we get started, please smash that like button. It means so much to us. We want to keep the channel growing, we want to keep doing videos like this, and especially in this particular time we are in. We're going to have more time to do the content, so we just want your support to show how much you appreciate it, and we want to get you more involved, which is why we're bringing out the polls on a daily basis, just to kind of give you the new Yu-Gi-Oh news, as well as get your thoughts on what you want to see next. So, with that all said and done, let's get on to the Cubic profile. So, we'll start off with the main deck, all straightforward on this one. Your OTK, your boss monster, your actual game winner. Triple Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. Now obviously this card is the boss monster. The way it works is can't be normal summon, must be special summoned from the hand by revealing 3 other cubic cards in your hand with different names, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. It's not a hard once per turn to be summoned that way, so you can actually summon it up to 3 times. If you were to open up these 3 in your opening 6 plus 3 other cubic cards, you can just go 1, 2, 3. Absolute boss. So, as long as they're different names, of course, you can also reveal itself. Nice. It's unaffected by other monsters' activated effects with original attack is 3,000 or less. When this attacking card destroys a monster by battle, you can activate this effect. This card can make a second attack during that battle phase. During your end phase, each player takes 3,000 damage. Only use the effect once per turn. So if you can do 5,000 damage to your opponent and untouch yourself, or at least with more than 3,000, even 3,001 life points, this card will win you the game. Then we move on to the only main normal summon of the deck you really want to use, and that is Duza the Meteor Cubic Vessel. This is your Foolish Burial of the deck. This one will send any cubic card from your deck to your hand. Very nice. Send any cubic card from your deck to the hand. No, that's not how it works. Send any cubic card from your deck to the grave. Nice. Once per turn, during either player's turn, if a monster was sent to the graveyard using this turn, with this card was face up on the field, you can make this card gain 200 attack for each monster with a different name in your graveyard until the end of the turn. Very rare that you're actually going to use that effect. Mainly you're going to be using his dump effect to get rid of your cubic karma, which gets you a search of the big boy. Then we play Triple V-Jam, the Cubic Seed. This has actually got a little bit more important now with the new cards, just because it provides you with another version of stun. This card can't be destroyed by battle, and at the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can place this card into your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell card, and if you do, place 1 cubic counter on that opponent's monster. Monsters with cubic counters cannot attack, and also their effects are negated. If this card is treated as a continuous spell by the effect, during your main phase you can special summon this card from your spell and trap card zone. Now, because the boss monster wants you to reveal as many cubic cards with different names, we do try to range it out. So we then play the 1 Buster, the 1 Indoria, and the 1 Gira. Now, these cards all require, so you need to send 3 cubic monsters that you control, send 3 cubic monsters, and send 1 cubic monster. This one you're going to summon more times than not. These guys are actually going to be coming off of stuff like Reasoning and sending them to the graveyard, additional names. That's the main reason for it. Now, because we are a go second deck, what better than being able to stop any monster our opponent has with a Kaiju, unless the card of course can't be tributed, and then that's just sad, sad days. Now, there's a couple of engines that I play in this deck. If you want to, you can add in 1 of each of the other cubic monsters that I'm not playing, just to up the consistency of your cubic boss monster. The idea is that you would Kaiju any annoying card that your opponent might have, bring out your big boss monster, clear it off, then do another attack, and hopefully by that point you've done enough damage to burn your opponent out in the end phase. There are other ways of getting the monster off the board should you not want to burn in the end phase, because that's the last thing you want to do is kind of kill yourself with that monster. But you have to be very, very careful the way you play it. Also with this engine, should you want to, I do play, and we'll do it now, I do play Extravagance. This deck really does not care about its extra deck. It does care about getting to the boss monsters, get into your doozers, get into your searches as quickly as possible. So the reason I mention this now is because if you don't have Extravagances, what I then advise is you can actually take out the Comungus for Lava Golems, and you can replace these with trade-ins. You're going to have enough targets. You're going to have about 4 targets with 3 trading, so you can even drop trading down to 2. You can put part of Extravagance up to 1. You can put an upstart in here as well if you wish. I just think that Extravagance, if you have them for a deck like this, is the most powerful card you could possibly have, because the extra deck is not important. You burn through the extra deck quite quickly, quite sweetly, and then you can go straight into the monsters. And the idea is, like I said, you want to get to your Mystic Mines, spoiler, your Kaijus, and your big boss monster with 3 different cubic cards in your hand. Now this being a nice +1 is one of the best draw cards right now to do so. If you want to, you can also play Desires in place of the Extravagances. That allows you to play at any point rather than at the start of the main phase, and it does also mean that you'll get the additional +1 as well. You just risk banishing your boss monsters, but you should only activate it when you have it in hand anyway. Then we move on to Triple Cubic Wave. This card is ridiculous. Target 1 cubic monster you control and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. The attack of that monster you control becomes double its current attack. That's right, you can make Cubic Lord 6k that can attack twice. 6k, attack twice. If that is not enough, if it does, the attack of that monster that your opponent controls becomes half. Exactly half. They lose half of their attack points. Like, how insane is that? Not only is your monster going up to 6k that can attack twice and is going to burn them for 3k in the end phase, you're also going to cut their attack points to half. Insane, destruction, amazing. If that wasn't enough, if this card is in the graveyard, you can banish this card and any number of cubic monsters from your graveyard, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, equal to the number of banished monsters or banished cubic monsters. Place 1 cubic counter on each of them. Monsters with a cubic counter cannot attack and their effects are negated. So, as long as you can target a Bora Load, you're going to be able to go banish, target, done. Now, obviously you're not going to be able to target it, but that's just an example. Then we move on to the most busted spell in the entire deck. Yes, Extravagance is not the most busted spell in this deck, and that is Cubic Karma. When this card is activated, you can target 1 cubic monster you control except V-Jam Seed. Send any number of V-Jam Seeds from your hand and or deck to the graveyard. Then that monster gains 800 attack for each, even if this card leaves the field. So I can make my boss monster 6k and give it an extra 2400 and it can attack twice. That's pretty cool. So we're going to be doing that, but what you're going to be doing more times than not is you will send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, halve your opponent's life points. How insane is that? So if V-Jam the Cubic Seed is special summoned by the effect of a cubic monster, you get to send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, halve your opponent's half your opponent's life points. Then, the card that you're going to be using the most of, you can banish this card from your graveyard and 1 cubic monster from your deck to your hand. Again, did you hear me say once per turn in any of that? No, you did not. You could send 3 cubic karmas and search out 3 of your boss monsters. Technically, you're playing 6 of your boss monsters. Alright then, cool. Then we move on to the brand new card, Cubic Drama. This one kind of clashes with Extravagance, so it's kind of nice if you do put in trade-ins with it. But you take no battle damage from attacks involving your cubic monsters, which is very nice, but considering the amount of times we've had to go normal seed, turn it into Link Karibo, or normal seed, can't destroy a battle, you're just going to attack it anyway, game. You can actually now normal summon it and your opponent can go, ah cool, I'm not doing damage to that. You can send 1 cubic card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, draw 1 card. So there's a way of putting Karma in the graveyard, get the Karma's effect to search out and draw a card. Nice. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 cubic monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So if they do get rid of your big boss monster, you can just bring it straight back. Easy as that. Then triple Foolish Barrel of Goods, because you want to be putting all of these cards in the graveyard, mainly Karma. So we're going to be running 3 Karma, 3 Foolish Barrel of Goods, and 3 of the boss monsters. So now we're running 9 of our boss monsters. Foolish Burial into Karma equals boss monster. Karma to the graveyard equals boss monster. Open up boss monster equals boss monster. You get where I'm going with this one. Insane. And then the best go second card in the game right now, and you've got to hate to love it, and that is Mystic Mine. I've actually put in a Terraforming for this, but you can easily just put in a third Mystic Mine. Does the job just as much. Now the idea is with this, you only need 1, maybe 2 monsters to kill your opponent, and sometimes it takes a bit of time to build up your hand in order to get the cubic cards to do so. But all you need to do is get 1 monster on board, attack with it again, and then get to the end phase. Now obviously the end phase mine is going to blow up if you have the same amount of monsters. It'll also blow up if you get rid of it. So you can then get a second one and set it. But the idea is you go Mystic Mine. You don't need to worry about Ash Blossoms, you don't need to worry about any of your opponent's monsters on the board. It literally is a better call by the grave, in my opinion, for going second. And then you bring your boss monster out. Your boss monster goes, hey, I'm 3k, I'm going to attack you, and then I'm going to attack you. And you left 3 monsters on the board. We now have the same amount of monsters. Okay, I guess Mystic Mine goes in the end phase. Oh look, I did enough damage to you that my burn will now kill you. Easy win. Easy win. Just saying. And then for the last one, we've got the 1 Reasoning and the 1 Monster Reborn. Of course, you play actually different levels in the deck. Now, you've got your 10 with your Vessel Cube, you've got Seed, you've got Doozer, you've then got another level 4, and then you've got all your Kaijus as well. So you do have a nice little range that Reasoning can be a nice free summon for the deck, should you want it. And it also, the idea is behind it, you just want to mill your spells. You just want to mill your spells and traps. That is all you want to do. Because then by milling them, they then get additional effects to boost up your cards, slow down your opponent's cards, or give you the searches that you need. And then we move on to the traps. We've got double unification of the Cubic Lords. You can play this at 3 if you want. It's very rare you're actually going to use it to fusion summon your Crimson Nova. 9 times out of 10 what you're going to be doing is using its banish effects. You banish this card from the graveyard, special summon 1 level 4 or lower Cubic monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. So it just gives you a bit more defensive protection. And then we play 2 of the brand new Cubic Casualty and 1 Cubic Ascension. So Cubic Ascension, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, special summon 1 V-Jam Cubic Seed from your deck, and if you do, change the attack target to it and perform damage calculation. If your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 higher than yours, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 V-Jam the Cubic Seed from your hand, deck or graveyard. Then, if only your opponent controlled a monster when this effect was activated, you can special summon up to 2 V-Jam the Cubic Seeds, special summon up to 2 more V-Jam the Cubic Seeds. So the idea is you get all 3 of your Cubic Seeds onto the board. That's 3 indestructible monsters that your opponent then has to deal with. You can then use them to link climb, or you can use them to go into your bigger cubic monsters as well. This gives you a lot more consistency in order to get into your other cubic monsters that then gain additional effects with additional burn as well. So if you wanted to, you could bump some of them up. And then we've got double Cubic Casualty. Now I actually really like this card. So distribute a number of cubic counters on face-up monsters your opponent controls up to the number of cubic monsters you control. Monsters with a cubic counter cannot attack, and also their effects are negated. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 cubic monster you control. This turn, each time it destroys an opponent's monster by battle that has a cubic counter on it, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack of that destroyed monster. Only use each effect once per turn. So you can see where I'm going with this. This is just a nice defensive card. Now the way it works is you can actually, if you were to set both of these, or if you were to have Ascension in the graveyard with no other monsters, you banish this, bring out 3 V-Jam Seeds, then flick Casualty. Casualty will then target or give counters to 3 of your opponent's monsters that then can't attack and then have their effects negated. And then you've got this in the your graveyard, so that if you do get one of your big boss monsters out, you banish this, give your boss monster then attacks, and then it gets to burn your opponent because they've each got a V-Jam or a Cubic Seed on them as well. So it gives them a nice bit of control and a nice bit of additional burn and damage. Not that you need it, but it's just a nice addition to the deck. Then we move on to the extra deck. Now the extra deck is nothing. You do not, in this build, because we do not rely on the extra deck, you can actually play whatever you want. So we play 3 Crimson Nova Trinity. Now, if you wanted to, you can make this more Super Poly relevant. Again, if you're going more for a budget option, you put in Super Poly, and then your Super Poly can have all your targets you want in here. You do not actually need to go in any of these, which is why I'm playing like triple Phantasm Emperor Lord. Super Dreadnought Gustav Max is actually a good one, because if you don't want to burn for 3k in the end phase and you've done 6k's worth of damage, you just overlay 2 of your big boss monsters and then go into Gustav Max, detach, burn your opponent for an additional 2k. It also gives you another one that should try and get called during your main phase. You can overlay 2 of them if you have the way to do so, and then burn for 2k, which is always nice. For going first, very defensive play, you've got your 1 Dreadnought, Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Super Dora. If you want to, you can go into your Super Dreadnought Rail Juggernaut Idli. You can also play, what's it called? Pentastag in the deck as well, because that's the one thing the deck can't do, is it can't pierce. But again, the idea is that you're going to do it and burn damage anyway. And then just to finish it off, we've got the 1 Nightmare Phoenix, the 1 Underclock Taker, and then 1 Winder and 1 Construct as super poly targets. That is it. Now, if you feel that your locals is going to be so rammed with certain types of decks that are going to get abused by super poly, then you just flood your extra deck with 15 of those. If you don't play the extra version, like I said, you actually have a lot more freedom in the deck as well, because then you can play around with it and actually try out different combinations and different options as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you liked it. I hope it gave you a couple of ideas of your own. I'm certainly looking forward to Cubics hopefully making a bit of a comeback and doing a little bit better with the new support as well. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time guys, as always, happy dueling.